Pedernales is a quirky place. I mean, it really is. And that people come out here to get away from the city. They don't want people telling them what to do. A lot of entrepreneurs out here, a lot of wealth, and at the same time we have the old hippies. So it's a quirky blend.
It was started in 1978, and it happened because there was a grouping of people who kind of got the heart of God inside of them. That God wanted to do something here on the 71 corridor between Bee Cave and Spicewood. So this was a place that people would come when there was tragedy. When the fires happened over this region, people would come here. It was a place where people would come and pray and just seek God and just come together as a community.
I think because it was vibrant, there was a lot of excitement about Sunday morning worship together. There were several small groups going on that were appealing to not only to us, but to a lot of people. And that's why we stayed and felt like at that time that the preaching was scriptural and on point.
Over the next 9 years, it's anticipated there's going to be 11,000 new homes that are going to be built up around this church. There's no way that that original grouping of people could have known that, but obviously God did. And I think the devil picked up on that as well, because this has been a church that's been in the crossfire of really the kingdom of God and the kingdom of darkness here.
There was just something missing. Worship was, there were just barriers, you know, on every front. Even relationally, the connections that we had with each other were limited by this thing that we couldn't put our finger on.
There was, I don't know, it seemed like animosity was growing among different factions in the church, if you will.
There's been 4 pastors who have led this church over the past 38 years, and unfortunately, from right at the beginning with the first pastor, there's been major sexual failure that's happened under the regimes of each of these 4 pastors, leading up to the last pastor having a long-term affair with the secretary that was originally discovered.
Initially, there was a lot of anger and confusion about how everything happened. You know, of course, it was a betrayal of trust.
And it's just been a heart-wrenching situation that the church has gone through points of healing and then restoration and then tragedy, and healing and restoration and tragedy. And it was during this last time that the church reached out to One Chapel.
Unfortunately, I do have some experience with walking a church through a scandal. So they came and they sat in my office, this group of elders, pastoral leaders, and they just wanted input. They just wanted advice. There was something connecting about this relationship, and I thought maybe we'd help them figure out what their next step was going to be.
And of course, I'm already thinking, let's join. But not everybody was there yet, right?
So when the idea of One Chapel came on, I thought, this is a great deal for them, for One Chapel, because we've got the building, we've got the prime location, we've got the assets, you know, we've got a church full of great people. But we're going to get help with youth and children, but, really. So I was a little skeptical at first.
Finally led to where the members of this church had a vote. And the question was, are we going to dissolve and allow One Chapel to come in here and adopt us? And so on February 7th, that vote happened, and over 80% of the members voted for this to go in this direction.
So we felt that this was an opportunity for us to really advance the gospel in this area. We wanted to figure out how to impact this community because we know that there's tons of people that are moving here.
It's pretty overwhelming to walk in and have this place be vibrant again.
I never thought I would be able to worship like this in this place again.
It's been years since anybody's been baptized in this church. They didn't even know how to turn on the water.
I still believe God planted this church here for a reason. And Pastor Russ referred to it in his first sermon as that, you know, God knew years ago where we would be at this point. We're already seeing a lot of new families coming in that weren't One Chapel or PRF. And we're seeing a lot of the old, I say old, but they're young families that left PRF that are coming back.
I tend to cry in most services now because you just see just the restoration of God taking something that was just so difficult and making something beautiful out of it.
But I think God is trying to help us understand who we are as One Chapel, that we want people to experience the presence of God in the Austin region. We want people to hear the gospel message in every neighborhood, in every community, and that means each community may really look different, but hold to the same values and be part of the same family. You know, I have 5 kids and they all look different. They all have different personalities. They come from the same genetic tree, but they're each different and unique. And I think that's what it's going to take to reach the Austin region.